Welcome to the Range Podcast. I'm Ricky Bruley, and with me is Jake Hollywood Iverson. Join us at the Archery Range, where we'll tell stories from the hunt, discuss technical bow shooting tactics and gear, and pick the brains of some of the most successful people to ever shoot a bow. Whether you're about to shoot that X for the win or send an arrow at a trophy buck, this podcast is for you. The Range Podcast is brought to you by Vapor Trail Archery, makers of the best bowstrings money can buy, originators of limb-driven arrow rest technology, and innovators of Stokerized stabilizer systems. Welcome to the Range, everybody. This is our segment of Shiny Objects, and I am here with Mr. Joe Eppele of the Edge TV, and we are going to discuss his current shiny objects. For those of you who aren't familiar with this segment, we just talk about what is our current shiny object in front of us. What is our obsession? It doesn't necessarily have to be an object. It can be an upcoming hunt. It can be a new book you're reading. It can be a new song, whatever it is that's you're obsessed with right now in this moment. So, Mr. Joe Eppele, what is your current shiny object? We'll be right back. Hey everybody, Ricky Bruley here, Vapor Trail. We're really excited about some new features that we've just added to the Gen Integrate X Limb Driver Arrow Rest. Previous model that we had the micro adjust knob that stuck out, and so it made it difficult to remove these one-piece low pro quiver from Matthews. We've eliminated that knob, and now it's an Allen key that you would use to make that adjustment. We thinned up the area here where the activation cord is as well. We really squeezed it in about 1/4 of an inch. It's a little bit lower profile, so now you don't have any issues with the low profile quiver. Comes off nice and easy. You also have, of course, the added feature of the integrated mounting system, so you can mount the arrow rest right to the rail on the riser of the bow. Additional features include new markings that differentiate your locking screws from your windage and elevation screws. All Vapor Trail arrow rests have a free-floating head, providing more forgiveness and greater downrange accuracy. No need for a bow press. Simply tie the activation cord to the limb and say goodbye to interference with cam timing caused by cable-driven arrow rests. The new and improved GI8X is available and ready to ship. Trust the originators of limb-driven technology and head over to our website at vaportrailarchery.com or stop into your local archery pro shop to get yours today.
Oof, my current shiny object. Well, I would be lying if I said my current shiny object isn't a beauty character blacktail buck that I've been running around the hills after with my bow. I think earlier we chatted a little bit. I've had quite a successful season so far, which has afforded me a little bit extra time to do some more scouting and check out some areas, try and turn up a quality blacktail in my area, which is sometimes challenging. But I have found one. He has slipped up and shown up on a few of my cameras at times. It is thick, nasty, ugly country in there, but running around, and that's my shiny object. That's the thing that keeps me up at night right now.
Yeah.
Is this one buck? I've got some pictures of him. He's only really shown mostly at night. He slipped up, showed himself once during the day, and it was a foggy, nasty, rainy day. So I'm gonna have some really cold, wet days running around the hills with my bow. But if I'm able to connect, you'll see him because I'll send you some pictures. He's going to be a stinking dandy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean that's a great shiny object. I think most people probably have a target, that they're looking at if they haven't already filled it. Makes sense that would be a shiny object for you.
No, absolutely. And the one thing for me is I grew up hunting blacktail, but the way that things work out with the show is we don't typically film blacktail hunting. It's a very challenging hunt to get on camera. So I don't get a lot of time to be able to get in the hills and chase blacktail. Last year was the most I've been able to do when we had Steve over and we got him his first Columbia blacktail deer. So we were able to get that one on camera, but typically I don't get to do much blacktail hunting throughout a season. So for me to kind of have the opportunity not only to get out and do a little bit of blacktail hunting, but also to have turned up what I would consider like a trophy quality, mature target animal is just one of those kind of, it's a special moment. It's going to make it a special season. Even if I don't connect, just having that nostalgic time to kind of run around the hills and chase them a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It certainly has reminded me why I hate blacktail hunting so much though, because it sucks out there, man.
Love-hate relationship, right?
Absolutely, without a doubt, it is a very strong love-hate
Mm-hmm.
relationship with the blacktail
Mm-hmm.
hunting.
There's a couple of shiny objects I'm looking at right there behind you. What do you got there behind you that's mounted?
Yeah, I got some shiny objects behind me here. These are two archery black bears I've got right here. I think my biggest there is just shy of 7 feet. I have
Um,
another archery black bear that's not up on the wall yet, but he was 7'2", nose
oh
to
wow.
tail. So some big bears.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Next over, I got a mule deer. That was 2 years back. Just a nice mule deer along the Fraser River. Behind me here, let's see what we got. That is my stag, my red deer stag from Argentina. And then probably my coolest one right here. This was a gift from my friend over, John, Big John over at Bear Paw Taxidermy.
Mm.
Um, this was my, believe it or not, that's my first ever moose.
Oh.
I've been on some moose hunts along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing for me was, my dad and I always said we were going to go on a big moose hunt with my brother as well. But unfortunately, my dad, he got brain cancer and passed before we were
Oh,
ever able to make that happen.
sorry to hear that.
So thank you very much. But yeah, no, I was able to connect on this one. And then, yeah, he was a beautiful big bull. I feel like it was definitely, my dad was with me looking over on me the way that
Mm.
hunt played out. And
Mm-hmm.
then my friend John, he actually made this beautiful display of him because of the story behind the hunt and always wanted to get a moose. So I don't know if you can see it. Oh, I think my backpack's in the front. There's a little
Mm.
plaque on the front of it that says "For You, Dad," and just kind of a cool keepsake and a
Yeah.
reminder of, how special the outdoors are,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to get out there and create those valuable memories.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Those are all beautiful animals you got there behind you. So my shiny object is actually, well, the day that we're recording this here, this has not been released yet. I'm gonna sneak off camera here to grab it, but
Ooh, I'm leaning in for this one. I'm
I
leaning in.
just got the brand new Prime RVX. This is the 36 axle to axle. See if I
Ah,
can get this in the right. Um, and yeah, okay, I can't get this on the camera right, but let's see, how's that working?
I can see that. Is it everything that everybody has promised? I've been speaking with Steve. He loves his. Again,
Yeah,
going back to being a long draw lefty, mine's always the last to come off the press. So I get to hear all of everybody else's stories, and then mine shows up, kind of halfway through the year. So
mm-hmm.
I get to live vicariously through you. So will you give me a bit of a rundown? Tell me what I'm missing out on.
I sure will. So here's the thing. Ironically, the reason I have this bow is for the very same reason that you don't have one, is because we have one of our content guys, very talented young man, Damon Wolf from All for One Creative, and he has been commissioned to make their Prime's new launch video for this particular bow. He was out hunting, or he was out filming with some of the guys who had gotten their hands first hands on these, and so he's got some footage of some animals being taken with the RVX. And so they sent him this bow, but he is a lefty and this is a righty. And so basically we're just using this for content. It's not technically my personal bow, but I am gonna outfit it. I am gonna shoot it, and I am gonna hunt with it here probably hopefully this next weekend. And I'm super excited for that. One of the greatest features for us on this bow and for you guys as well is that they've incorporated the integrated mounting system onto the rail of or onto the riser of this bow. So you guys will be able to shoot the Integrate 8 or the Integrate 8X on this bow, which is really nice. And then they've also got the inline mount here for the sight as well. And I love a long axle to axle bow. I haven't shot a 36-inch in a long time, so I'm pretty excited. I've always really enjoyed the forgiveness that comes with a longer bow, and I've never really
Hmm.
been too worried about whether I can get it up into the tree or get it into a ground blind or anything like that. So I'm jacked up about that. I'm really excited about this. And Hollywood has actually had a 34 as well for the better part of it. Well, a few weeks now, and he's already put a doe on the ground with his 34. And we got his all outfitted, and they shoot nice. So they're great bows. I think Prime's going to have a really good year. And so, I'm excited for when you get yours, just so that we can share in the glory.
Yeah, so I can finally join in. Until then, I'll be kind of that little kid staring through the window from the outside looking in. I feel like that's me every year.
Yeah.
Because Steve, he's right-handed and he's kind of, towards the lower end. We've talked about the size difference towards the lower end of the draw length. So
Mm-hmm.
Steve, like first bow off the press, Steve gets these bows, and then all he does is kind of dangle it in front of my nose until
Yep.
mine shows up. Inevitably, sometimes up to 4 or 6 months later because
Yep.
it takes so long to go through the production.
Mm-hmm.
So I just get to sit here and drool and hear about all the nice new features and how much. Oh man! So if it lives up to what Steve has been telling me, which I'm sure it does, you're in for a treat. And whether or not it's your personal bow, I say you treat it like your personal bow and get it out in the bush as soon as you can, because I'm envious, to say the very least. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. I'm excited to get it all set up and going through that process now. And it's funny. I feel so bad for you guys because, like, Ears is a lefty too, and it's the same thing. Our previous owner, Steve Fondy, he shoots a left-handed bow, and so those guys are always waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but at least you still got your RevX, right? And you got that baby all outfitted out,
Oh man,
shooting bullets. So
dialed, tuned. I got nothing to complain about. I mean, I always get excited when the new bows come out, but let's be honest, like the Revix is a phenomenal bow, phenomenal setup, and I've had a lot of time running around with it, and I'm happy. It's just, when you see the shiny new object come along, you always want to put your hands on it. You just have to, and you can't wait till you finally get to. So
yep, exactly.
I'll be dreaming about it till I do get to.
I'll probably throw a D-loop and a rest on it as soon as this conversation is done, so I can go get some arrows through it.
Your hands are probably tying stuff below the screen right now, aren't they? You've got a press set up just out a screenshot.
I'm building the bowstring now. Yeah, thanks so much for taking time out of your day. I know you're busy. If our listeners want to look you up, where can they find you on social media? And then also, where can they find the Edge TV as well?
Yeah, for me, it's just my first and last name, so Joe_Eppele. That's on Instagram and Facebook. I believe they just look up the same.
But yeah, again, thanks, man. Really appreciate you being on.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. Always good catching up with you, man. And I hope you get a few more days in the field before season's up.
Yeah.
Because, it's the best time of year, and I know it's a busy time for you guys. And you guys certainly had a lot more on your plate this year than you typically do. But, it's the best time of the year. You got to take advantage of what you can.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely be getting out, and good luck on the rest of your season, man.
I appreciate it. I'll keep you up to date on how things go with my blacktail. Fingers crossed.
Sweet.
Fingers crossed. I'll have some good stories for you.
Definitely keep me in the loop on that.
You betcha.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of this episode. You can find us at the Range Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram at RickyWayne80. And you can find me on Facebook at Ricky W. Bruley. And then also be sure to head over to the Vapor Trail and Stokerized social channels. Give us a follow there. And please be sure to head over to Vapor Trail YouTube channel. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe so you can be up to date on all things archery. If you're listening, do me a favor, give us a rating and make certain you give us 5 stars. And with that, we are going to pack up our bows and we are going to hit the range. Have a great day, everybody. Vapor Trail is now offering an exclusive discount to the Range Podcast listeners. Enter promo code TRP15, that's TRP15, at checkout for 15% off VTX bowstrings and Vapor Trail and Stokerized branded t-shirts, hats, and other gear.